The Chronic Overthinker. You've got that one friend who never takes action. Not because they're lazy, just stuck. They research everything to death. They plan every detail. They analyze every possible outcome until the opportunity passes. Their problem? They think instead of do. But here's what's happening. You're overthinking yourself into failure. Every opportunity becomes a 47-page mental pros and cons list. You're waiting for perfect clarity, then wondering why nothing ever happens. Successful people make decisions faster. They gather enough info. They move. They adjust along the way. They understand that imperfect action beats perfect planning every single time. How common is this? Extremely. Does it kill success? Unfortunately, yes. Your dreams don't need another plan. They need execution. Start acting like it. The Perpetual Victim. Some people think life is happening to them. Congratulations, that's why you're stuck. It's not my fault. The economy, my boss, my background, the system. Here's what victim mentality actually does. It removes your power. Every excuse you make is agency you're giving away. When nothing is your fault, nothing is in your control. Bad things happen to everyone. Successful people focus on what they can control. Their response, their effort, their next move. When you blame everything external, you never develop the internal strength that actually builds success. People who take ownership aren't luckier. They're just done making excuses. How common is this? Painfully. Does it matter? More than people realize. The people pleaser. You know that friend who says yes to everything? Every request, every favor, every commitment. Their calendar is chaos. Their energy is depleted. Their own goals never get attention. Meanwhile, their inability to set boundaries is draining them. People take advantage, not maliciously, just because they can. Their friend never says no, so why would anyone stop asking? Then there's that other person who protects their time like it's sacred. They say no without guilt. They help when they can. They prioritize their own goals first. Result? They actually accomplish things. They build their life instead of living everyone else's. While you're exhausted from being everyone's backup plan, they're focused on their primary goal. How common is this? Incredibly. Does it work? Your empty achievements and full schedule both say no. The perfectionist. Some people never ship anything. Their standards are impossibly high. Every project needs another revision. Every idea needs more polish. Every lunch date gets pushed back because it's not quite ready yet. Their perfectionism has no room for progress. No room for done is better than perfect. No room for learning by doing. Meanwhile, successful people ship imperfect work. They iterate. They improve. They understand that version 1 doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to exist. By the time you're perfecting your first attempt, they're on version 7. While you're polishing details nobody will notice, they've already launched and learned what actually matters. How common is this? Absurdly. Will you ship anyway? Probably not, which is why your ideas die in the notebooks. The short-term thinker. You know someone who can't delay gratification? They want results now. They quit when things get hard. They switch strategies every 3 weeks. They're always chasing the next shiny thing. Here's the problem. They are treating success like fast food. Order it, get it in 5 minutes, consume it, done. Most people take years to build. Not weeks, not months. Years of consistent effort that feels boring and unrewarding. When you need immediate feedback to stay motivated, you'll never stick with anything long enough to see real results. Successful people think in decades. They plant seeds knowing they won't see fruit for years. They make boring choices today that compound into extraordinary outcomes tomorrow. While you're jumping to the next get-rich-quick scheme, they know their patient consistency will win. How common is this? Devastatingly. Does it matter? Ask yourself why you started 17 things and finished 0. The excuse generator. There's that one person who has an excuse for everything. Too old, too young, too busy, too broke, wrong time, wrong place, wrong background. They've got a perfectly reasonable explanation for why they can't do what others are doing. You want to believe them, but the excuses pile up. Person after person with the same obstacles somehow succeeds while they're still explaining why it's impossible for them specifically. This applies to everything: business, fitness, relationships, learning skills. Successful people face the same obstacles, they just don't use them as stopping points. Most people can't see past their excuses to understand they're volunteering for failure. How common is this? Extremely. Does it affect your life? Ask anyone who achieved what you said was impossible. The comparison trap dweller. You know that person who's obsessed with what others are doing? They scroll, they compare, they feel behind. Everyone else seems further ahead, more successful, more together, so they feel discouraged and do less. Sounds exhausting? But here's the truth. Comparison is the joy thief and the momentum killer. When you're measuring yourself against everyone else's highlight reel, you'll always feel inadequate. Successful people run their own race. They track their progress against themselves. They celebrate their wins without checking if someone else won bigger. Result? They stay motivated. They keep moving forward. While you're spiraling because someone your age just bought a house, they're focused on their next milestone. How common is this? Spectacularly. Does it work? Every person stuck in comparison jail will tell you no. The comfort zone prisoner. Some people never leave their comfort zone. Same job they hate, same city they've outgrown, same routines that lead nowhere. They know what they need to change, but change is uncomfortable, so they stay stuck. Here's what that guarantees. Nothing changes. Ever. And if you don't value growth enough to be uncomfortable, you'll stay exactly where you are until it's too late to do anything about it. Successful people embrace discomfort. They know growth lives outside their comfort zone. They take the scary step anyway. When you realize your comfort zone is actually a prison, it hits different. How common is this? Unbelievably. Will you change? No, you'll keep choosing familiar pain over unknown growth. The credit thief. There's someone you know who takes credit for wins and deflects blame for losses. Project succeeds, they let it. Project fails, the team dropped the ball. They're never responsible when things go wrong. Always responsible when things go right. Not once. Consistently. They're not confident, they're delusional. While you're alienating everyone who helped you, successful people share credit generously. They acknowledge contributions. They take responsibility for failures. They don't need to steal glory because their work speaks for itself. End of year, their network is strong. Yours? People stopped wanting to work with you around the third time you threw them under the bus. That reputation hurts your trajectory, but it's powerful when you realize it. How common is this? Aggressively. Does it matter? Completely. Which is why people trust them and avoid collaborating with you. The Dream Hoarder. There's that one person who's going to do everything. Start a business, write a book, launch a podcast, learn a language. They talk about it constantly. Plans for days, excitement for weeks. Not because they're busy, because they're addicted to the daydreaming phase. They never move past ideation. They never take step 1. Now they're 40 with the same dreams they had at 25 and confused why nothing materialized. Result? All talk, zero results. Same potential, different year, nothing built. While you have 50 ideas you'll start someday, action takers build one thing and make it real. Same hours in the day, they just use them differently. They chose execution over endless planning. How common is this? Incredibly. Will you start executing? Probably not. Too scary to move from dreaming to doing. The Self-Sabotaging Truth. Here's what nobody tells you about success. Personality can block it faster than lack of talent. If it was just about skill, talented lazy people would rule the world. The fact that it's about psychology is exactly what makes success available to average people with great habits. Natural talent helps. The right personality traits win. You don't see results immediately. Nothing feels dramatic. But one day you look around and your life is completely different from people who started with the same potential. Not because you did anything extreme, because you fixed something intentional, consistently, when nobody was watching and nothing felt impressive. That's the secret. Successful people aren't always the smartest or most talented. They just stop being their own worst enemy. If this made you realize you've been sabotaging yourself with personality patterns, good. Now you know what actually needs fixing. Hit that like button like you're committing to fixing one self-sabotaging pattern. Subscribe like you're choosing self-awareness over comfortable delusion. Because success doesn't come from wanting it. It comes from eliminating the personality traits that block it. Same principles, different approach, way better results.